And we're back with our special guest, Jason Nichols, Ward 1 City Councilor and a longtime Tahlequah resident. Jason, we were talking a little bit about the past for the city of Tahlequah, and now let's talk a little bit about our current status, where we are in city government, the state of the local economy, how that's impacting budget plans coming up for the next fiscal year, and what's the future?
Well, the future for the next couple of years until the economy rebounds is going to be a little bit more difficult than probably you remembered as mayor. I know that you were mayor during the September 11th attacks, and we had a year or two that were down because of those things. But now we're facing a little bit more of a prolonged cycle of a few percentage points off. We're not showing growth. In fact, we're even showing a little bit of shrinkage in our sales tax revenue. So it's going to be difficult next year and probably even the year after that, but we're making it through fine compared to a lot of other communities throughout the state. And
that's what I've observed, that a lot of states that are looking at a lot of communities, 15 and 20% loss of sales tax revenue, where Tahlequah is 3 to 5%.
It depends on the month, but I would say we're averaging about 3%. I know last night we got a report from the tourism board that the hotel motel tax is only down 2%, and so we're proud of that actually at this point.
You hate to say it's a good sign, but
right.
it is a good sign.
Right.
Let's talk just briefly about, we had a tax issue in months past about youth sports facilities and those things for the community. Tell us a little bit about the status of where that program is at the current time, and looking in the future where it's going.
Last year, the citizens of Tahlequah voted in some sales tax money that we split between the city and the school system, but the city's portion is going to go towards, one of the things it's going to go towards, is the construction of a new youth facility out west of town. We just completed the purchase of the property north of Allen Road, right next to American Woodmark. And we're in the planning stages now of putting out a few soccer fields and maybe a football field or two. Some of the square fielded sports that'll be easy to put in the beginning. We'll spend about $2.3 million on that project.
And what's the timeline on construction and completion on those sports facility projects?
A lot of preparation's already begun on the construction. We'll actually probably break ground sometime in the next few months. And then the completion, or by the time people will be able to actually use the facility, might be another 24 months. We've got a little ways to go.
And the funding for that, the sales tax, is that programmed to end at a certain time or based on income, or what? How does that establish?
We split it 60-40 between the schools, and it rolls off. We figure it'll probably be in about 5 or 6 years. Well, 5 would probably be very hopeful, but probably 6 or 7 years is when it will roll off after we've collected a certain amount, which I think was, well, you've got me on the spot now. I think it was somewhere around $7 or $8 million. But
I knew it was a substantial amount
sure.
of money, just over time, depending how the economy produces those sales tax revenues.
It's dependent on that.
So what else is going on with the sports complex? Is going to be an exciting new thing. I know when I was a mayor and you were working in this city, we unfortunately, because of bypass and so forth, had to move the sports facilities for soccer around a lot. And I always have been a great supporter of the soccer program, so I'm glad to know that those things are coming along. What other types of future programs are out there for our citizens in the city of Tahlequah as far as capital improvements or other programs within the city? Well,
another part of that tax that was passed last year, we are going to put in a second fire station. It'll be unmanned initially, but it's going to be in the Southridge subdivision. We also are going to improve 2 different roads. We are going to improve East Ross Street and West 4th Street over by the bypass. And then, of course, something unrelated to the tax is East 4th Street. We're in the process now of widening it out to 3 lanes. So, on the East Ross, will that be widening and sidewalks, storm drainage? What all will be involved in that project? All of those things. We're actually trying to make that that road a lot more usable for people who need to get there, kids to and from Greenwood Elementary. If you've ever been there at 3 in the afternoon, oh, yes. You know what a mess it can be, and we're trying to address that. So, and the 4th Street is on the east of the bridge, is that correct? That's correct. From the bridge to the east bypass. Okay, and what will be in that project? Again, it'll go to 3 lanes. We'll have sidewalks, we'll have drainage. We're in the process of trying to acquire those easements and those things that are necessary to get all of those things put in. But it's one more of those things that it just takes a long time. I can recall that when I was the mayor again a few years ago, we were working with the Department of Transportation and some state grants that were out there trying to make sure we had the engineering design and drainage and all those kind of things. And here we are 4, 5, 6 years after that,
and some of those things are finally coming to fruition.
It takes time for some of these things to come to fruition. The state and even the city, I hate to admit it, can sometimes move a little slowly, but we do eventually get there, and I think people are going to like the improvements they see over the next couple of years.
We have just about a minute left in this segment. Just kind of a brief overview about our city government. We have how many wards?
We have 4 wards.
And it's divided among the population based on?
It changes with every census, so it's about due for another adjustment, but it is based on population, and roughly it's in quadrants of from northeast all the way back around to northwest.
And then the mayor is elected at large.
He's elected at large, that's right.
So we have 4 councilors, and if I think the term is a strong council, weak mayor form of government, if I remember correctly.
We have a charter, but it's basically based on the aldermanic form, which is essentially strong council, weak mayor. That's right.
So it's an interesting and rather unique. There's only, I think, 2 other communities or 3 in the state that have that form of government.
Yeah, it's in the single digits, the low single digits. I think we're relatively unique throughout the state with that arrangement.
Jason, we need to have you back on sometime, talk a little more about city government and about our community and the great work that our city councilors and our mayor are doing. We've got to say that we appreciate it is sacrificial service. It's not a part-time job. People may think that, but it's like 24/7. I can speak from experience.
I bet you can. Thank you for having me.
Thanks for coming, and we'll look forward to having you back. And we'll be back in just a minute.